This is a tutorial for the game Photosynthesis. This is an abstract game from 2 to 4 players where you are building trees in this board area competing for light and space, and when you grow and recycle those trees, then you get points. The game takes place in 3 rounds, and a round means the sun going all the way around the board one time, which is 6 turns. The sun is this piece right here that you can see. And the main important concept to understand in this game is that this, whatever side the sun is, so this piece will then rotate to be over this side, and then over here, and then over here, and over here, and then back. So 6 times it'll go around this hexagon. When the sun is on that side, it will shine light on every tree that it sees, and we'll talk about what that means when seeing a tree that exists in its line of sight. So you're looking at these lines and the way that the sun is shining on those. And the more sunlight you get, the more points, light points that you get, which allow you to do more things like build more trees, spread seeds, and harvest trees when they are fully grown. So every tree starts as a seed, and then it has 3 different stages: small, medium, and large. Once you have the large tree up, it will be, you can harvest that tree and get points based on where that tree is. You can see there's little leaves, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those coincide with these numbers here. So the first person to harvest a tree on one of these 1 squares gets this one right here, 14, and then that goes down by points, 14, 13, 12. I don't know all of the numbers, but the top ones are always the best ones to get, so there's a bit of a race to it. The ones with the 2 leaves on it go from this pile, get the points from this pile, and then from 3 get from this pile, and from the middle get from this pile. You can see there's only 3 of the ones, because there's only one spot where you can get one of these point chips, but then 5 of these, 8, and 9 of these. On your turn, you'll have a specific number of light points depending on how much light is shining on your trees. Now you can block your trees or other trees, and that's an important thing to understand. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit so we can kind of see what it looks like to have trees on the board and have things blocked or receiving light. But before we go there, just as a starting, before you start playing, everybody gets to place 2 small trees. It goes in reverse turn order, I believe. So you'll notice that people are mostly picking the corners, just because those are less likely to be blocked. But you have to place your 2 trees on the outside ring, the ones that have just 1 leaf on them. That's where you start. Alright, now we'll skip ahead. Okay, this is this is the board after a couple of turns in the game. We're on turn 3. So you can see the sun is here now. Now you'll see the nice thing with BGA, it will show you the different shade of the plants. So we have different levels of trees, 1, 2, there's also 3. There's not 3s yet, and these were what seeds look like on the board. And next to each of the trees it shows what type they are, in case it's hard to tell. This one's a 1, and this one has the 2 carrots, that means it's a 2. And the height of the tree will determine how much shade it gives, and also how many points you receive for that tree. So as you look down these straight lines, you'll notice that this tree blocks trees from receiving light 2 spaces behind it. So that's why these 2 are shadowed currently. Now when this moves over here, then it won't block any, because the light will be coming this way. Right now, any trees that had been in these 2 spots would have gotten no light points. For example, this one blocks just 1. There's 1 right here. This tree did not get any light points as the light shone this direction. Now if in a case like this, right, there's a 1 and a 2 here, when the light comes around here, both of these will actually get light points because the 2 is taller than the 1. So you think of it like a tree peeking up over the top of a different tree, since the light is not completely blocked by this one because the 2 is taller. And so if there was a 3 behind it, it would also get light. But if it was just a 2 behind it, it would be blocked by this one of the same height. So what can you do with light points? So at the beginning of each turn, you get a number of light points, and it'll show you how many you have. You can do a few things. You can buy trees and seeds to place in your ready pile. So currently I don't have anything here. I've put everything that I have out on the board. So you can do that by paying the number of on the next to whatever it is. So here I've got 1 acorn. I could do 1 acorn. I could get ready for 1 light point, a small tree for 2, a medium tree for 3, and a big tree for 4. As you use up trees or replace trees on the board, they come back here, and so the more trees you have out or in your kind of ready to go, the more expensive they can be. So if you have 2 trees out or 2 smaller trees out already, you get 2 to begin with. But if I were to put these out, then the next tree I would purchase from here would be 3 actually. So that's one thing you can do. You take trees from your board and you stick them here ready to be put on the main board. The next thing you can do is plant a seed. Now if you have a seed in your ready, then you can click on one of the trees and it will let you put a seed within a certain amount of that tree. There's also a little player aid here for you, and it shows you what you can do with these seeds. You can plant a seed. If it's a small tree, you can plant it within 1 space. If it's a medium tree, within 2, and if it's a large tree, within 3 spaces. And that can jump over. So if there was a tree in front of something, I could jump over that. Like if there was an opponent's tree in this middle part and this was a 3 tree, I could go 1, 2, 3 and put a seed all the way over here, even though there was another tree blocking it, as long as there is a space available and I have the tree available and I have the seed available. So in this case, I spent my 2 points just to get one of these ready. The third thing that you can do is replace one of your seeds or trees with an upgraded version. And the cost for that shows down here. If it's a seed out there, you can spend 1 point to turn it into the small tree, 2 points to turn it into a medium tree, or take a medium tree, spend 3 points to turn it into a large tree. Or if it's a large tree, you spend 4 points to harvest it and get one of those point tokens. Now you cannot skip steps. You can only go up to the next version, and you can only do it once per turn. So if I turn the seed into a small tree, I have to wait till the next turn to turn it into a medium tree. I can't upgrade and harvest something all at the same time. Similarly, if I harvest a tree, I cannot then put a seed there that very same turn. That would allow you to hog some of these prize spaces in the center, harvest a tree, and then immediately put another seed there in the middle so nobody else could build there or put a tree there. All right, as you can see, the sun rotated. Everybody got their light points. I did pretty well this time because all of my trees were on this side, the sun side. So when the sun's over on this side, I do better than typically, but when it comes over here, I'm more likely to get blocked just the way that my trees are laid out. We'll look at a bit how to use these points again. All right, so now that if I had a seed in my spot, I could take any of these trees and I could click on them, and it would tell me where I could put a seed. So like if I clicked here, it would say, oh, you can put a seed in any of these spots. Okay, now I did just, oh, cancel. If I clicked here, now this can go up to 2 in any direction. If it were 3, a lot of the board would be full. Okay, and if I wanted to go there, I would just click on it, say you have to spend one light point, and you can put a seed there. That's what I did. I took my tree and I put a seed here, because these center spots, they're bigger points, and so there is a bit of a rush to the middle. I didn't quite get as far. I forgot that when you upgrade a tree, you cannot use that tree to then put a seed. So the key thing to remember is that with each spot you can really only do one thing. So if you upgrade a tree, then you can't use it as a seed spreader. If you use it as a seed spreader, I don't believe you can use it to upgrade. You can't upgrade it after the fact. Let me actually check on that. Yes, I confirmed that if you use a space to do anything, whether that is upgrading a tree, planting a seed, or harvesting a tree, that space is no longer available to you. Okay? During that turn. You have to wait for the next turn. So the things again that you can do, buy stuff from your board, put it here, plant a seed from one of your current trees, or turn a seed into a tree, or a tree into a larger tree, or harvest a tree that is size 3. Any light points that you don't use at the end of a turn will carry over to the next turn. So sometimes if you have one left and you don't have a great use for it, just keep it and it'll add to your light points at the next turn. But if you do have something that you can do, especially when it comes to activating the board out here, you want to do it as soon as you can in order to make sure you're acting on that space every turn and being most efficient. One other thing that's kind of nice with this board, or with the BGA implementation, so when you play a physical copy of this, there's lots of trees that have different heights, and it's really easy to understand where things are. This is nice that it marks those for you, but you can also look at the board in 3D, so you can see a bit of how the light comes and shines. You can turn the board around to kind of get a sense of, okay, if I planted a tree here, would it be blocked? And so forth. Even doing it full screen here. So that's kind of a neat aspect of it. Usually you can figure it out just by kind of looking at it here, but if you're not quite sure if that's in the same line, use that 3D version and you will be able to figure that out. Alright, we're going to skip a little farther ahead towards the end of the game to kind of show you a few things to keep in mind as you finish up the game. Alright, we are on round 3, turn 3 of 6. So once the sun goes all the way around back to the starting spot up here, the game will be over after that turn. After that 6th turn. There's no final round or any final actions you can do. So one of the key pieces, especially towards the end of the game, is timing, because you don't really get any points for trees left on the board. The only way that you get points are harvesting trees and getting these chips. They have to be height 3. And then if you have any remaining light points, you get 3 points per light point. So if there's no way that you're going to harvest a specific tree, you might as well, by the end of the game, you might as well just save up your light points and get some points out of that. Try to squeeze out an extra points. Given that idea, and given that these, I mean, besides these outer layer ones, these are not that far off in point structure. If you're able to harvest 5 trees and the next person's only able to harvest 4, it doesn't really matter if those are the super high value ones. You're probably going to win just by harvesting an extra tree. Unless yours were all low value and theirs were all high value, it's hard to make up for that additional tree. So really, it's all about cycling through those trees. Another thing to remember is you can only have 2 level 3 trees at one time. So if you have them both on the board, you cannot grow another one until you harvest one. It goes back into your board, you buy it again, and then it comes out. So you've got to get your timing right. I got it just off a bit. I was just one turn off here. So as you can see, I've got this 3 tree here that I'm going to harvest to get that 18 there. And then my goal was to get this one up to a level 3 tree in time to do it. But I only had 3 more turns to do it. I should have just focused on getting one of these 2s up and harvested, and I probably would have won. But I thought I could get it up to 2 this time, and then I would have enough to get to 3 the time before and harvest it the next. But it didn't end up working out. Oh, I did end up doing this 3rd one. I thought I could do both. That was what it was. So I got a 3rd one, but I couldn't get, or I got this 3 one, but I couldn't get this other one. I thought maybe I could do it with, especially with all these light points that I got this round, because it was all shining on mine. You'll notice that this center spot area is kind of, as soon as something opens, at least towards the end, towards the beginning of the game, as soon as something opens, somebody takes it. A lot of people will take the center spot and just kind of stay there to kind of hog the spot until the very end. It's a strategy in photosynthesis you can't really avoid. It's just a good way to get a lot of light points, because if it's a 3, you'd have to be blocked on every single side to not get stuff there. But it could happen, so it's not. It can backfire on you, but typically that's what people do. They come in and try to claim these areas and kind of stay there until the end of the game. The other thing is, again, because all that matters is what you harvest, don't do any seeds in this last round unless you think you can get it all the way up to harvest. There's no point in spreading a seed towards the end of the game here. So I got rid of that one. Got it up to a 3. Was I able to get it? Oh, now I'm forgetting how I ended up doing. Oh, I guess I did end up harvesting this one, but maybe I thought I could get this one at the outside as well. I remember I just wanted to try to get one extra one in there because that could have won me the game. I didn't quite have enough turns for it. But yeah, you really got to time that out so you can get as many trees harvested by the end as possible, but still have enough light points to do it. You can see red is harvesting all of their trees that they possibly can at the end there, and I was able to do mine, but I wasn't able to use that big tree to harvest it at the end, and that was the end of the game. So it was pretty close. It was within 3 for us because we got the same number of trees, but he got the higher value ones, especially in the middle. So that's where it comes into play. If you have the same number of trees you're harvesting, getting those in the middle make a big difference. Otherwise, if you can just get one extra tree from the other players, you're going to do a lot better. All right, I hope this is helpful. It is a tutorial for photosynthesis on BGA. Thanks.